Welcome to Week 15 and Lesson 15.1, the AI Landscape in Grants, a deep dive. This week marks a significant shift in our course as we dedicate focused attention to artificial intelligence and its applications in grant strategy. While we have touched on AI throughout previous weeks, this week provides comprehensive exploration of how these tools can enhance your practice while maintaining professional integrity. Before we proceed, an important disclaimer that applies throughout this week. The AI tools, techniques, and policies we discuss reflect a rapidly evolving landscape. Specific platforms mentioned may change features, terms of service, or discontinue operations. Funder requirements regarding AI-generated content disclosure are evolving and vary significantly. The legal status of AI-generated content remains unsettled in many jurisdictions. AI tool privacy practices vary, so consult your organization's data governance policies before inputting sensitive information. And AI tools may generate inaccurate information, so all AI-assisted content requires human verification. This course teaches principles for responsible AI use. Specific implementations should be guided by current organizational policies, funder requirements, and applicable law. Today's lesson provides a comprehensive overview of the AI landscape as it applies to grant work, distinguishing between different types of AI and the platforms you will encounter in your practice. In the grants world, AI tools generally fall into two broad categories that serve fundamentally different purposes. Understanding this distinction helps you select appropriate tools for specific tasks and set realistic expectations for what each can accomplish. Generative AI creates new content based on prompts you provide. These systems, built on large language models or LLMs, can produce text, images, and other content that did not exist before. When you ask a generative AI to draft a needs statement or suggest approaches for a logic model, it generates novel content based on patterns learned from vast training data. The output is creative in the sense that it produces something new, though the quality and accuracy vary considerably. Analytical AI interprets and organizes existing data rather than creating new content. These systems excel at processing structured information, identifying patterns, matching records, and presenting organized results. When you use a grant database that suggests funding opportunities based on your organizational profile, that matching function represents analytical AI at work. The tool is not creating anything new, but rather analyzing existing information to surface relevant connections. These categories are complementary rather than competing. Effective grant professionals learn when generative capabilities serve their needs and when analytical tools prove more appropriate. The strategic question is always which type of tool best supports the specific task at hand. Several major generative AI platforms have emerged that grant professionals commonly encounter. While specific platforms may change, understanding current options provides useful orientation. ChatGPT from OpenAI represents perhaps the most widely recognized generative AI platform. Various versions offer different capabilities, with paid tiers providing access to more advanced models. The platform excels at conversational interaction and can assist with drafting, editing, and brainstorming tasks. Integration with other tools expands its utility for various workflows. Claude from Anthropic, the platform you may be familiar with, emphasizes thoughtful responses and can handle longer documents effectively. Different versions offer varying capabilities, with some particularly suited to detailed analysis and nuanced writing tasks. Claude's approach to AI safety may produce more cautious responses in certain contexts. Gemini from Google integrates with Google's ecosystem of productivity tools. This integration can be valuable for grant professionals already using Google Workspace for collaboration and document management. Gemini's capabilities continue expanding as Google develops the platform. Important caveats apply to any platform discussion. Capabilities evolve rapidly, sometimes changing significantly within months. New platforms emerge while others fade. Pricing structures shift. Features available today may disappear tomorrow. Rather than committing to specific platforms, develop transferable skills in working with generative AI generally. The principles of effective prompting and critical evaluation apply across platforms even as specific interfaces change. Generative AI offers particular value for certain grant tasks while being less suited for others. Understanding appropriate use cases helps you leverage these tools effectively. Drafting narrative sections represents a primary use case. Generative AI can produce initial drafts of proposal sections, transforming outlines into flowing prose. The quality of drafts varies, but they provide starting points for human refinement. Boilerplate sections like organizational capacity descriptions often work particularly well since they draw on common patterns the models have learned. Brainstorming approaches and alternatives helps overcome creative blocks. When you are uncertain how to frame an approach or want to explore different angles, generative AI can suggest multiple options quickly. You evaluate and select from these options rather than starting from blank pages. The AI serves as a brainstorming partner, generating possibilities for your consideration. Refining and polishing language improves existing drafts. Feed your rough text to generative AI with instructions to improve clarity, adjust tone, or reduce word count. The tool can suggest alternative phrasings, smooth transitions, and enhance readability. This editing assistance accelerates revision while you retain control over content. Summarizing lengthy documents saves research time. When reviewing extensive funder materials, annual reports, or background documents, generative AI can produce summaries highlighting key points. These summaries guide your deeper reading rather than replacing it entirely. Remember that summaries may miss nuances or introduce errors, requiring verification of important details. Critical understanding of generative AI limitations protects you from misuse that could damage your professional credibility. These limitations are inherent to how the technology works, not temporary problems that updates will solve. Hallucination refers to generative AI confidently presenting false information as fact. These systems can fabricate statistics, invent citations, create fictional quotes, and generate plausible-sounding details that have no basis in reality. This is not a bug, but a feature of how the technology operates. The models generate text that sounds correct based on patterns without any mechanism for verifying truth. Every factual claim from generative AI requires verification. No genuine understanding exists within these systems. They process patterns in text without comprehending meaning. When a generative AI produces a coherent paragraph about your program, it has not understood your program. It has generated text that follows patterns associated with program descriptions. This lack of understanding means the output may be superficially correct while missing essential substance. Training data cutoffs limit current knowledge. Models learn from data available at training time, which may be months or years old. Recent developments, current funder priorities, and up-to-date statistics are unknown to the system. Information about specific funders, recent grants, or current events may be outdated or entirely absent. Internal organizational information is inaccessible. Generative AI knows nothing about your specific organization unless you provide that information in your prompts. It cannot access your databases, review your history, or understand your unique context without explicit input from you. Analytical AI platforms serve specific functions within the grant lifecycle. These tools process structured data to provide insights, matches, and organized information rather than generating new content. Instrumentel represents a prominent grant discovery platform that uses AI to match organizations with funding opportunities. The system analyzes your organizational profile against funder databases to suggest relevant prospects. Tracking features help manage deadlines and application status. The AI works behind the scenes to surface opportunities you might otherwise miss through manual searching. Flux provides grant management systems used by both funders and grantees. AI features help process applications, track compliance, and generate reports. Organizations using Flux-powered portals interact with analytical AI that organizes and routes their submissions. Understanding these systems helps you navigate funder requirements effectively. Submittable offers application and review platforms incorporating AI for various functions. Some features assist applicants in completing submissions, while others help reviewers evaluate applications. The platform's AI capabilities continue expanding as the company develops new features. Foundation Directory Online and similar prospect research tools increasingly incorporate AI to enhance search and analysis capabilities. These analytical features help identify patterns in funder giving, suggest similar foundations, and organize research findings. The AI augments traditional database functionality with intelligent analysis. Specialized tools continue emerging for specific grant functions. Budget analysis, compliance checking, and outcome tracking all see AI applications. The landscape of analytical tools expands continuously as developers identify new opportunities. Analytical AI excels at tasks involving structured data processing, organization, and pattern recognition. These use cases leverage the technology's strengths while avoiding its limitations. Prospect identification and funder matching represents perhaps the most common analytical AI application in grants. Systems compare your organizational profile against funder databases, identifying matches based on multiple criteria, including geographic focus, programmatic interests, funding ranges, and past giving patterns. This matching accelerates research that would take much longer manually, though human review of suggestions remains essential. Deadline management and workflow tracking helps organizations manage complex grant portfolios. Analytical systems can track multiple applications, flag approaching deadlines, and organize workflow stages. Some systems learn from your patterns to predict potential bottlenecks or suggest prioritization. This organizational intelligence helps prevent missed deadlines and overlooked requirements. Application routing and status monitoring assists both applicants and funders. Systems can direct applications to appropriate reviewers, track review progress, and provide status updates. Understanding how these systems work helps applicants ensure their submissions route correctly and follow up appropriately. Pattern recognition in funder portfolios reveals giving trends that inform strategy. Analytical AI can identify shifts in funder priorities, changes in average grant sizes, and patterns in grantee characteristics. This intelligence informs prospect research and proposal positioning. The analysis surfaces insights that manual review might miss. Data organization and report generation streamlines administrative tasks. Systems can compile information from multiple sources, generate formatted reports, and organize data for various purposes. This capability reduces time spent on data management while improving consistency. Analytical AI limitations differ from generative AI limitations but are equally important to understand. Recognizing what these tools cannot do prevents over-reliance on automated results. Quality depends entirely on underlying data. If funder databases contain outdated information, analytical tools will produce outdated suggestions. If your organizational profile is incomplete or inaccurate, matches will be similarly flawed. The principle of garbage in, garbage out applies directly. Analytical AI can only work with the data it has access to. Cannot interpret nuance or context limits analytical AI's ability to understand fit beyond explicit criteria. A funder's stated priorities may differ from their actual interests. Relationship history between your organization and a funder cannot be captured in database fields. Human judgment about fit incorporates contextual understanding that analytical systems cannot replicate. May miss opportunities outside defined parameters means that analytical matching only finds what it is programmed to find. If you describe your organization in ways that do not match how a compatible funder describes their interests, the match may not surface. Creative connections that human researchers might identify can be missed by algorithmic matching focused on explicit criteria. Requires accurate organizational profile input places responsibility on you. The quality of analytical AI output depends heavily on how you have described your organization within the system. Investing time in comprehensive, accurate profile creation improves results. Periodic updates ensure the system works with current information. System-specific learning curves require investment. Each analytical platform works differently with unique interfaces, features, and best practices. Effective use requires learning each system's capabilities and limitations. This learning investment compounds across multiple platforms. Comparing generative and analytical AI platforms reveals fundamental distinctions that guide appropriate tool selection. Understanding these differences helps you match tools to tasks effectively. Generative platforms offer flexibility and creativity across diverse applications. You can use the same generative AI for drafting, editing, brainstorming, summarizing, and many other tasks. This flexibility comes with the cost of requiring extensive fact-checking. Creative output may be novel, but also may be wrong. Every use requires critical evaluation. Analytical platforms provide structured, reliable results within their specific domains. A grant matching system is designed specifically for that purpose and operates reliably within that function. You cannot ask it to draft a needs statement, but you can trust it to search its database consistently. Domain-specific design enables focused reliability. Generative platforms serve general purposes, meaning the same tool handles many different tasks. This versatility makes them widely applicable, but also means they are not optimized for any specific function. Jack of all trades, master of none applies. You gain breadth of application at the cost of specialized depth. Analytical platforms are optimized for specific grant functions. A deadline tracking system does that one thing well. A funder matching tool focuses on matching. This specialization produces tools that excel at their intended purposes while being useless for other tasks. Different verification requirements apply to each type. Generative output requires verification of every factual claim because hallucination is inherent. Analytical output requires verification of underlying data quality and appropriate interpretation of results. Both need human oversight, but the nature of that oversight differs. Effective grant professionals blend both types of AI tools strategically, leveraging the strengths of each while compensating for their limitations through human judgment. Use analytical AI for research and discovery phases of grant work. When identifying prospects, tracking deadlines, and organizing information, analytical tools provide structured assistance. They help you find and manage information efficiently. The output guides your work without requiring the extensive fact-checking that generative output demands. Use generative AI for content creation and refinement phases. When drafting text, brainstorming approaches, and polishing language, generative tools provide creative assistance. They help you produce and improve content efficiently. The output requires careful review but accelerates writing tasks. Let each type do what it does best by matching tool to task appropriately. Do not ask a generative AI for hard deadlines when an analytical system has that information reliably. Do not expect an analytical database to write a compelling story. Appropriate tool selection improves results and efficiency. Human judgment integrates outputs from both types of tools. You evaluate analytical suggestions against your contextual knowledge. You verify generative content against reliable sources. You make final decisions about what to include, how to present information, and whether outputs serve your purposes. AI assists, you decide. Workflow design incorporates appropriate tools at appropriate stages. Research phases might emphasize analytical tools. Drafting phases might emphasize generative tools. Review phases return to human judgment. Thoughtful workflow design maximizes AI value while maintaining quality. The human-in-the-loop philosophy provides essential grounding for all AI use in grant work. This principle recognizes that AI tools assist human professionals without replacing human judgment and responsibility. AI assists human decision-making but never replaces it. Every AI output represents a suggestion, a draft, a possibility for your consideration. The technology cannot make decisions on your behalf. It cannot evaluate whether its output serves your purposes. It cannot take responsibility for errors. You make all final decisions about what to use, how to modify it, and when to reject AI suggestions entirely. You remain responsible for all output regardless of how it was produced. If you submit a proposal containing AI-generated content, you are responsible for that content. If a hallucinated statistic appears in your submission, you cannot blame the AI. Professional responsibility attaches to the human professional, not to tools used in production. This responsibility framework makes critical evaluation non-negotiable. Critical evaluation is non-negotiable because your reputation depends on it. Every claim, every figure, every citation in AI-assisted content requires verification. Skipping verification to save time risks professional credibility that took years to build. The efficiency gains from AI use are meaningful only if quality is maintained. Professional judgment cannot be automated because judgment requires understanding context, weighing values, and making decisions that reflect professional principles. AI lacks understanding, values, and principles. It generates plausible outputs based on patterns. Judgment about appropriateness, fit, and quality remains exclusively human. AI amplifies your capabilities when you remain present and engaged. It does not substitute for your expertise, knowledge, or judgment. As new AI tools emerge continuously, developing systematic approaches to evaluation helps you adopt beneficial tools while avoiding problematic ones. Evaluation frameworks enable informed decisions about tool adoption. Assess data privacy and security practices before using any AI tool with organizational information. What happens to data you input? Is it used to train future models? How is it stored and protected? What are the vendor's data handling policies? Organizations may have specific requirements about AI tool use that constrain your options. Always consult organizational policy before inputting sensitive information. Understand training data sources and limitations to set appropriate expectations. What data was the tool trained on? When was it last updated? What domains does it cover well, and where might it be weak? This understanding helps you anticipate where the tool might perform well or poorly for your specific needs. Test accuracy and reliability for your specific use cases before committing to a new tool. Run tests with content where you know the correct answers. Ask questions about your field to evaluate knowledge depth. Generate drafts and evaluate quality against your standards. Real-world testing reveals whether marketing claims match actual performance. Consider integration with existing workflows to assess practical utility. Does the tool work with your document management systems? Can outputs be easily incorporated into your processes? Will adoption require significant workflow changes? Integration ease affects whether tools deliver value in practice. Evaluate cost versus value for your specific context. Free tools may have limitations that matter for your work. Paid tools must deliver value, justifying their cost. The right choice depends on your volume of use, specific needs, and available resources. Organizations benefit from systematic approaches to AI adoption rather than ad hoc individual use. Organizational frameworks ensure consistent, appropriate AI use across staff and functions. Develop organizational AI use policies that clarify what tools are approved, what uses are appropriate, and what safeguards are required. Policies should address data privacy, quality control, disclosure requirements, and accountability. Clear policies enable staff to use AI confidently within established boundaries while preventing problematic uses. Train staff on appropriate AI applications to build organizational capability. Training should cover both technical skills and professional judgment aspects. Staff need to understand how to use tools effectively and how to evaluate outputs critically. Training investments compound as staff apply learning across their work. Establish verification and quality control protocols that ensure AI-assisted work meets organizational standards. Who reviews AI-generated content? What verification steps are required? How is quality assured before submission? Protocols make quality control systematic rather than depending on individual diligence alone. Create documentation standards for AI-assisted work that support accountability and learning. Should staff note when AI tools were used? How detailed should documentation be? What records support audit or review? Documentation standards balance accountability needs with practical workflow considerations. Plan for ongoing policy updates as the landscape evolves. AI capabilities, funder expectations, and best practices all change continuously. Policies that make sense today may need revision as circumstances change. Build, review, and update processes into policy frameworks from the start. Let us examine how generative and analytical AI might be integrated in a realistic grant scenario. This case study illustrates principles we have discussed throughout this lesson. You are preparing a proposal for a private foundation. The deadline is 3 weeks away. You need to research the funder, develop your approach, and draft the proposal efficiently. Analytical AI assists your research phase. You use a prospect research platform to examine the foundation's giving history, identify recent grantees, and understand priority areas. The analytical tool surfaces patterns in giving amounts, geographic focus, and programmatic emphasis. You review this analysis, noting areas of alignment with your organization. Generative AI assists your drafting phase. Based on research insights and your program knowledge, you use a generative AI tool to create initial drafts of narrative sections. You provide detailed prompts including context about your program, the funder's priorities, and your proposed approach. The tool produces draft text that captures key elements. Human review ensures quality and authenticity. You verify every claim in the AI-generated draft against reliable sources. You refine language to reflect your authentic organizational voice. You ensure the proposal genuinely addresses funder interests rather than superficially matching keywords. You make judgment calls about emphasis, framing, and presentation. The final product is AI-assisted but human-controlled. AI tools accelerated research and drafting while you maintained responsibility for accuracy, quality, and fit. The efficiency gains are real but do not compromise the integrity that your professional reputation requires. Today's lesson provided comprehensive overview of the AI landscape as it applies to grant work. We distinguished between generative AI that creates content and analytical AI that organizes and interprets data. Each type serves different functions within grant practice, with generative tools supporting content creation and analytical tools supporting research and management. We examined specific platforms in each category, while acknowledging that this landscape evolves rapidly. Current platforms may change significantly or be replaced by new entrants. The principles of effective AI use transcend specific platforms, focusing on understanding capabilities and limitations rather than mastering particular interfaces. The human-in-the-loop philosophy provides essential grounding for all AI use. You remain responsible for all output. AI assists your work but cannot replace your judgment. Critical evaluation of AI output is non-negotiable. These principles protect your professional integrity while enabling you to benefit from AI capabilities. Strategic blending of generative and analytical tools maximizes value. Using each type for appropriate tasks while maintaining human oversight produces efficient, quality work. Workflow design that incorporates both types thoughtfully delivers better results than either type alone. In our next lesson, we examine the ethics of AI in grant work, focusing on bias and hallucination. Understanding these challenges is essential for responsible AI use that maintains the integrity your profession demands. Thank you for engaging with this foundation for our week-long exploration of AI in grant strategy.